And that's the biggest message I really want to share, is that our bodies were designed to heal. Hey my friends, in this video I'm going to share some things to consider if you feel like a specific diet that you've been doing hasn't been enough for you to fully heal from chronic illness. And whether this be the carnivore diet, an animal-based diet, whatever kind of diet, this is something that I think is such a big missing piece for people with chronic illness. It's kind of like the big elephant in the room that isn't talked about as much in the nutrition community as a whole. And what that is nervous system regulation. This is something that has been very, very important for me in my healing journey, and to be honest, I would say the nervous system work that I've done has been more impactful for my chronic illness recovery than changing my diet. Of course, eating nourishing foods is so important for our overall health. I'll never stop sharing about how important it is to fuel our bodies right, but what we eat certainly isn't everything for our overall health. And to be honest, I have never met somebody with a chronic illness that isn't in some sort of state of nervous system dysregulation. And to explain that a little bit more, the nervous system is the control center of the body. So the nervous system controls our immune system, our digestive system, our cardiovascular system, so our heart rate, our blood pressure. It controls our digestion, our endocrine system, our healing. It controls every important function of our body. And when our nervous systems become stuck in a chronic survival state, then any system of the body can be affected. And personally, I believe that almost all chronic illness is due to nervous system dysregulation. And whether that nervous system dysregulation is caused by eating highly processed foods, which are really bad for the brain, or whether it's caused by an environmental trigger or an infection or emotional or physical trauma, it doesn't matter, because when we get into that dysregulated state, our body isn't functioning properly. This is something that I see a lot with people that have chronic illness. They become so hyper focused on trying to find the perfect diet or the perfect supplement or the perfect treatment protocol to get them better from chronic illness. But often what we really need to do is focus on rewiring our brains to signal safety to our brains so that our body can go into a parasympathetic state where healing can truly start to take place. And when I bring up brain retraining, sometimes people have the initial reaction of, well, my illness is real. It isn't in my head, and so that couldn't help me. But it couldn't be further from the truth. Like I said, the nervous system is the control center of the body, and the state of our nervous system reflects the state of our overall health. And we really can rewire our brains to help our bodies to physically heal. And this is something I haven't talked about as much on this channel, but I've talked about a lot on my other channel. It's called Rachel Elizabeth. I'll tag it in the description, as well as on my Instagram at RibEyeRach. I talk about this a lot. But brain retraining has been such a huge thing for me as I've been healing from chronic illness. And I actually, when I heard about it, I didn't think it would help me, because I felt like I was a calm person, I wasn't anxious, I was overall pretty positive, but I was still stuck in that chronic survival state. I didn't feel safe in my body, and I was in fight or flight for years, and it takes a long time to recover from that, but it's absolutely possible. In April of last year, I started a brain retraining program called DNRS, and that stands for the Dynamic Neural Retraining System. And there are several different brain retraining programs out there. There's also the GUPTA program. I've been through that as well. It's a really great one. But the idea with these brain retraining programs is to help you to learn how to regulate your nervous system so that your body can heal itself. And that's such an amazing thing about the human body, is that we have an innate ability to heal. And really the key to that innate ability to heal is through regulating the nervous system. And actually eating nourishing foods is a way to regulate the nervous system. So I think that's a really big reason why people see so much healing by changing their diet. But if we're still stuck in that chronic survival state, even if you're eating the perfect diet, it likely isn't going to be enough for you to be able to fully heal and recover. When I started brain retraining, I was about 8 months into doing the carnivore diet. So I had seen a lot of progress in my health, but to give you an idea of how sick I still was when I started brain retraining after doing carnivore for 8 months, I wasn't able to physically walk to the end of my driveway. Granted, my driveway is longer than the average driveway, but that's still severely sick. I was still spending most of my waking hours in bed. I had gone from spending 0 to 1 hours out of bed when I started carnivore to 8 months later probably spending 4 to 6 hours out of bed. So for me, that was this miraculous huge improvement, but to someone else that's still a very sick and very limited life. And so I still had a lot of healing that I needed to have happen. As I started to learn about the nervous system, I realized that I was stuck in that chronic state of fight or flight. I read all sorts of books, listened to podcasts about nervous system regulation, and then jumped into this brain retraining program. So with brain retraining programs, often the focus is visualization. So the brain doesn't know the difference between visualization and reality. So when you visualize yourself healthy and strong, then your brain can start to form new neural pathways for healing, which is really incredible. And from when I started doing brain retraining to 3 weeks later, I went from not even being able to walk to the end of my driveway to being able to walk a full mile for the first time in over 6 years. So for me, it was the quickest progress that I had seen with my health journey. Everybody is going to be different in how quickly they progress with nervous system regulation and brain retraining, but it can be so impactful for healing. And I have found that this is often the missing piece for people when they're in their healing journey. And I think sometimes we can become too hyper-focused on diet. What are my macros? What are the foods I'm eating? It has to be 100% perfect. Those things can be important and can be helpful, but when we're hyper-focused on those things, that is signaling danger to our nervous system, which in turn is keeping us in that sympathetic nervous system state where we are hypervigilant and where we are not able to heal like we are in a parasympathetic state of the nervous system, if that makes sense. And so a lot of times kind of shifting your focus away from things like hyper-focusing on diets and supplements and protocols and finding the perfect doctor, and focusing on signaling safety to your brain through things like visualization, time in nature, grounding, getting sunlight, doing things to elevate your state of emotion, letting go of limiting beliefs, redirecting any sort of negative thought patterns that you have, that will continually signal safety to your brain so that your nervous system can shift into a more parasympathetic state where healing can start to happen. And it's a really incredible thing. At least for me, for so long, I was so focused on researching to find the perfect diet or the perfect supplement or the perfect doctor that would help me and give me the right treatment so that I could heal. But when I really stepped back from that, stepped back from researching, stepped back from Facebook groups, stepped back from hyper-focusing on my diet, and I started to lean in to trusting my body's innate ability to heal and focus on things like brain rewiring and nervous system regulation, that's when I really started to see a big shift in my healing journey. And there was a point where I went from wanting to heal to really believing that I could heal. And there's such a big difference between those two things. When we want to heal, a lot of times that's coming out of desperation, and that doesn't signal safety to the brain. But believing that you can heal, visualizing yourself healthy, that signals safety to the brain and helps you to get to that parasympathetic state where healing can start to take place. And so it's just a really incredible thing. And I always like to say that the most important part of healing is free. It comes from within. Our bodies have an innate ability to heal. And I'm trying my best to share as many resources as I can about nervous system regulation that are free and people are able to access on their own. But I really would recommend trying a brain retraining program if at all possible for you. Personally, I did the DNRS program, like I said, and I also later went through the GUPTA program. I have several videos about both of those brain retraining programs on my other channel called Rachel Elizabeth. So make sure to subscribe over there as well, because I know a lot of you guys have wanted me to share more about brain retraining on here. But for the most part on here, I'm doing what I eat, nutrition, stuff like that. But my other channel is really focused on nervous system work. And of course, though, there will be some crossover. But if you want to learn more about brain retraining, I recommend going over there. I have some examples of visualizations that I do. Basically with the visualizations, you spend an hour a day doing visualizations where you're verbally speaking out loud going through past and future memories of being healthy and strong, and just drawing in those 5 senses of whatever that memory involves. So I have some examples of my own visualization recordings on my other channel. I'm planning to share more, and I'll put a link to the brain retraining programs that I would recommend. Like I said, it's not necessary to do a brain retraining program to heal the nervous system, but the courses can really be invaluable for people with chronic illness that don't really know where to start, because this is something that most people aren't very familiar with. And for me, being 100% honest, the money that I spent on the DNRS program was the best money that I spent on my health by far. We spent tens of thousands of dollars on doctor's appointments and treatments that didn't help me at all, and then this brain retraining program was something that really helped me to learn how I could heal myself. And that's what it all comes down to, is that we have an innate ability to heal. And that's the biggest message that I really want to share, is that our bodies were designed to heal. And it's so important to believe that healing is possible for you. That can be a turning point for people, letting go of those limiting beliefs. And sometimes people ask me, how do I believe I can heal if it's been so long that I've been sick and I haven't gotten better? I always like to suggest that you start with curiosity. So say, what if I could heal? And then instead of going on Facebook groups, maybe think about listening to recovery stories and try to fill your social media feed with people that are recovering from chronic illness or believe that they're recovering, on the path to recovery. That can be really helpful. Just taking focus away from illness as much as possible, which can be hard when you're really, really sick. I know that. Trust me, I understand. But taking focus away from illness as much as possible can be really impactful. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because I think sometimes people come to this channel and see that I changed my diet and think that's the only thing I've done to heal, and it can't be further from the truth. I've been doing so many things to heal from chronic illness, and nervous system regulation encompasses everything I've done to heal, including changing my diet. What you eat wires your brain retraining, visualization, sunlight exposure, grounding, meditation, so many things. But it all just comes down to signaling safety to the brain so that our bodies can start to heal. Anyway, my friends, I hope that this video was helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I will look forward to seeing you in another video very soon.